Tip number 4 with Justin from Elevation Homes. My question today, Justin, is explain to me what's meant by cost per square foot when you're building a home. Like, what's all that about? I don't understand any of it. Can you break it down for me?
Morning, Dave. Yeah, I mean, there's this is kind of a one of those phenomena that homeowners or prospective home builders, I suppose, kind of get. There's a lot of gray area when it comes to this subject, and there's a bunch of stuff on the internet that can like lead you down the primrose path, and you get 3/4 of the way into your build, and you're like, hey, but you told me it was $189 a square foot, and we're at $345 and we're not even done. And so it's really important that when you do, it doesn't matter whatever and whoever builder you're going through, or even if you're contracting it yourself, you need to know what that price per square footage sort of means and what it entails, and how it'll dictate the final outcome, and whether or not you even do you even have enough money to do your project? Are you going to get 3/4 of the way through that project and then have to do a refi and get more money out of that project? I mean, which is all possible. I mean, we've done many projects where we get it to the 3/4 mark. The banks are happy that there's a building there, and they will actually give you a non-finished value and lend you some more money based on that value, and then also the potential finished value. So so just to give you there's a bunch of stuff floating around on the net, but I've done some research, and Altus Group has come up with this, and it's kind of like the closest one I've found to kind of all-in pricing for Canada, and some of the prices are pretty shocking. I'm not going to go through every town in Canada, but Vancouver, as I'm sure we all kind of know, it's a pricey place to be. The production homes, so your subdivision stuff that's like ran off like cookie cutters, and I mean, still good products, but they're you get your choice of 3 and that's it kind of thing. That stuff is at $145 to $260 a square foot. But then when you jump into building a custom, or even a semi-custom, like, you buy some prefabricated plans and then build off those. Out in Vancouver, you're talking it's $430 to $1,100 a square foot.
Wow.
And that's Vancouver and BC for you. And I mean, we're not that far behind in Toronto, GTA, Southern Ontario. The production houses are at $115 to kind of $230. And then but then we're right in there at $400 to $900 a square foot to build anywhere from Oshawa all the way down to us here in Norfolk, if you're talking about a custom home. And I mean, you could, believe me, I'm sure you could blow that number out of the water too, depending on what you choose as your finish. And even down in Halifax, where, down east, where it's supposedly cheaper to build, where the customs out there, we're still at $250 to $500 to build a brand new house on the ocean kind of thing. So it is definitely substantially less, I guess, considering. But again, your materials are going to be slower to come down the pipeline, stuff like that, just because it's more remote. I mean, Halifax is okay, but as you kind of, I know many people that have sold up here to move out there, and they're only slightly better off. I mean, it's not, it's not like they're half better off, Yeah. So, that's just a little overview of kind of what is happening in Canada. The prairies, there's some, there's different spots there. But a lot of it, it's market dictated and material dictated. So, I mean,
yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, because
with the price of materials, is it starting to come down? Is the price per square foot peaked and now it's starting to come down, or will it ever come down? Do you think it'll stay the same?
I think, we had an insane high during COVID, right when everybody wanted to build something, right? And it got to the point where, if you could afford it, they didn't care. They didn't care that that a 2x4 was $12 or whatnot. They just wanted out of the cities. They wanted their new country homes, or they wanted their new subdivision homes. Whatever happened to the housing market during that time, but they have already done some correcting even since January. So that price per square footage, like even what I'm quoting now, is better than what I did in December for sure. And the materials are like they're still nowhere near what we were at in 2019, but they are substantially better, like affordable to the general public. You know what I mean?
Okay, I understand.
So I think it'll still continue to drop. I think this year will kind of dictate the final settling point. I don't think, in terms of materials, I think these retailers have kind of figured out that people are used to this now, so we don't have to go back to the old price, right? Yeah. We're going to keep this. We're going to drop it, but we're going to keep it at a level. I don't think we're ever going to see a 2x4 for $2.19 a game. But at this point, $5 is looking pretty.
Yeah, it's a lot better
because that's far less than 12.
What it was, yeah.
And I think it's like a lot of things we got used to during pandemic. I mean, we're just, we just kind of accept it now. And if they can get that money, they're taking it,
My next question is, with price per square foot, I mean, different home builders have different things that are included in that. Can you sort of give us a basis of what should be included per square foot? Like, it's not you're not getting your ceiling tile, your roof tiles, and you're not getting washrooms and electrical done. But what is the basics that should be done when you say price per square foot?
So when if the kind of the old, like the 1980s, 1990s format, when you were price per square foot, that was to get you to the finish, to get you to the point where you could put finishes in it. So you would have a shell. You would. I mean, in some cases, that shell would be weatherproof, sided in. It would definitely have a roof, and you definitely have windows. You'd be insulated, and you'd be drywalled. But then everything after that, including the walkway up to your house, and the bathrooms, your kitchen layout, all that kind of stuff, all that was after the fact. So if you were $150 a square, and then you started plugging in a $30,000 kitchen, a couple of $12,000 bathrooms, and so on and so forth, then that would build the rest of the price. I personally, when I quote price per square foot, I mean, I do that. That's my price is everything. Like, you move into that place, with the exception of the external. So obviously we don't include a whole lot of landscape, a way in, yes, but it's a basic way in kind of thing. And then there's all these other little extras, like, does it need hydro service? Does it need gas service? All your permits and fees and architectural fees, engineering fees, none of that stuff comes into the mix when it comes to price per square foot. But when I send out a quote for price per square foot, it's you have a house you can move into. There's no finished basements in that. You obviously have blanket insulation in the basement because that's the code, and everything else is up and running. I mean, you got a furnace, you got an AC, you got all that kind of jazz. So and that's something you really have to know what's included in that when you start shopping around in that, because some guys include the AC, some guys don't include the AC, right? I like, if somebody wants to go ahead with a major reno or a custom home build with us, I like to make sure that they don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? Yep. If they don't want to. If they want to start shopping out, their HVAC and start shopping out all these little bits and pieces, I mean, go ahead. I mean, that's up to you. But, we still allow the customers to pick their finishes. But, I'm not going to throw you into a house in August with no damn AC. I mean, because we've all been through that. Yeah. And it's like, last thing you want to do in your brand new house is then start shopping out the AC.
Right.
Or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Well,
and it's nice when all that ductwork's done, right? It's all out of the way. And like you said, if it's included in the price, it makes such a big, and that's the biggest, probably one of the biggest things you have to make sure that's done.
Oh yeah.
Before you get in there.
No, I mean, like it's just one of those things. I want, if we're gonna do a house for you, I literally want it. I mean, whether it has its construction delays or whether it has permit delays or whatever else external, goes to in the job. When you get in that house, I want it to be over. Like, you're in there, you're living, you're not hunting for anything else. I mean, if we need to give you a hand, getting the internet into that house or whatnot.
Right.
I mean, we don't couple the boys around here that'll get the lines in for you, or we can suggest the companies and so on and so forth.
Is that the difference between a production house and, like you said, a custom house? I mean, in a production situation, is everything pretty much included, like your AC and all that? And then with your
for
custom?
the most part, I mean, they'll run packages on that stuff, right?
Oh,
so
I see.
The big guys, Empire, Mattamy, and even these guys down here in Waterford, we're doing a great job, actually. I mean, I must admit that this Villages of Waterford is very impressive for production bills. That's just a side note, but
right. Okay.
I mean, they're nice places. So I mean, outside of myself, that it's a nice little community they put together there. Anyways, but it's generally you'll get a price per square foot, and then you have it's like anything. They put together packages on the upsell. So there is an HVAC pass or an HVAC passage. There'll be anybody that's bought a subdivision house knows there's going to be a hardwood package. There's going to be a staircase package, and all these kind of things. So your $226,000 house is now $480, but you know what I mean. They give you that stuff. Again, it's a bit of a marketing thing, and it works well because they can legally and legitimately throw a sign up that says these houses start at the low 600s. They're $1 million house, because I mean the low 600s is carpeted with white drywall. Yeah. But 90% of people are going to try to do those upgrades in and kind of make it their own. And that's in production, that's what you're kind of banking on. I mean, you're not banking on that price. That production cookie cutter price is not really the moneymaker. You know what I mean? So they need those upsells. I mean, but when it comes to the custom side, I like to have a budget and a contingency to have the upsells pre-done. You know what I mean? So that there is no, I mean, unless you're going with something, crazy high end. Right. But generally the mid to high, the mid high, that's what I like to include in there. And if you want to go cheaper, then by all means you can. Right. But yeah, it just every quote I've ever done, doesn't matter if it's renos or new house. I like it, pretty close to turnkey, if not completely turnkey. Right. Cool. Thanks for doing this. And if you don't mind, next week, I'd kind of like to talk about the interior of when you build a new home, sort of those, like you said, those price points and the upgrades, and we can sort of touch base on that if you don't mind. You cool with that? Yeah, no, 100%. No, listen, I mean, it's an ongoing. That's an ongoing issue. I mean, before you know it, we'll be on episode 365,000. Trying to figure it out, right? It never ends. How do people get a hold of you? What's email, phone number? I mean, you can get a hold of us. I mean, I don't. To be honest with you, most of you're welcome to give me a shout. But I don't advertise my personal phone number too often. No, you don't. It'll ring at 11 o'clock at night. But well, you got email. You can get a hold of us. You can message us through Instagram at we're Elevation Home Design, Elevation_Home_Design. My email is elevationhomedesign@yahoo.ca, and you can get a hold of us either that way. You're welcome to give me a call. Like if you email me, I'll shoot you my number. Yeah. I just I got to try to eliminate. We don't actually have a business phone. It's my damn phone. So that's one of those things. If I don't put it on signs a lot and people say, I can't call you. And I said, well, it's kind of because it will ring at 1 o'clock in the morning, right? Yeah, it will. All right. You have a great day at work. Take care and we'll talk next week. Thank you, sir.